Good morning, children. Welcome to today's session of online class of Sri Gokulam Public School, Guruvayur. Children, we were discussing chapter 9, Financial Management. Today's our topic for discussion is Fixed and Working Capital. Fixed capital. Fixed capital means the portion of capital invested in the long-term assets. So that part of the capital which is invested in long-term asset or fixed asset. What are the examples of fixed assets? Land and building, plant and machinery, furniture and fixtures, vehicles, etc. So when the portion of capital is invested in such fixed assets of the firm, that is known as fixed capital. Fixed asset must be financed through long-term sources of capital, and as equity or preference shares, debentures, long-term loans and retained earning of the business. So these are the examples of long-term source of capital. So from these sources of capital you can finance or you can purchase the fixed assets. Now there are certain factors affecting the fixed capital requirements. So let us discuss that. The first factor which determined the amount of fixed asset which is required in a firm is nature and type of business. A trading firm needs lower investment in fixed capital or fixed assets compared with a manufacturing organization. As you know, in a manufacturing organization, we have to purchase so many machineries, furnitures, and we have to go for purchase of different types of assets, fixed assets. So, if we are comparing trading firm with the manufacturing firm, the requirement of fixed capital is more in the manufacturing organization. So, we can say that because they are making more use of plant and machinery, so they will purchase more plant and machinery. Hence, manufacturing organization requirement for fixed asset is more than the trading firm. So that as a conclusion, we can say fixed asset requirement is more in manufacturing organization than in the trading or firms. Next point is scale of operation. Scale means large scale and small scale. So in a large organization operating at a higher scales, you know that in a large organization there is a large scale production which is taking place, and they need bigger plant, okay, huge plants and big complex is required there for the operation to take place. So more space is required. So we can say a larger organization or more scale of operation is required there, and therefore they require higher investment in fixed asset as compared to the small scale organization. So we can say that the scale of operation is more or higher in large scale organization than in small scale organization. So large scale organization required more fixed asset. Now third factor which determine the choice or effect of fixed asset requirement is the choice of technique. Capital intensive organization require higher investment in plant and machinery as it relies less on manual work. So there we can divide the work into two categories, that is capital intensive. Capital intensive means where machines are used, and manual means where labors are used for production. So in capital intensive organizations, because there is requirement of more machines, so for fixed capital requirement will be more in such organization. And where labor intensive organization is used for production purpose, then fixed capital requirement will be less in such organization. Fourth point is technology upgradation. Children, in certain industries asset becomes outdated very soon. Consequently, their replacement also becomes due faster. So they have to be replaced. Therefore, higher investment in fixed asset is required in such cases. So those industries which depend more on technology for their working, they have to invest more on fixed asset, because as and when they become outdated, they have to be replaced as fast as possible for the working of that organization. So we can conclude that for this point, the organization where the technology upgradation is more, the fixed capital requirement will also be more. Fifth point is growth prospect. Higher growth prospect require higher investment in fixed asset to create higher production capacity in order to meet the anticipated higher demand quicker. So the fixed capital requirement is higher. So those firms where the growth prospect is high, so for having a growth prospect, they have to produce more, isn't it? For more production of goods, they have to have the fixed asset, more fixed asset. So for purchasing this fixed asset, they have to, that is, fixed capital is required. So we can conclude that a firm which have more growth prospect, their fixed capital requirement will be higher. Next point is diversification. A firm may choose to diversify its operation. For example, a textile company is diversifying and starting a cement manufacturing plant. So a company who was first producing textile, they were textile company, now they diverted and started cement manufacturing plants. So for that they want a new building, a new plant, a new machinery, and everything have to be new, isn't it? So whenever diversification take place, investment in fixed asset will automatically increase. So the fixed capital requirement will be higher where you are going for diversification. If you are going for the diversification, capital requirement will be higher. Next one is financing alternatives. When an asset is taken on lease, the firm pays lease rental and uses it. So fixed capital requirement is low since it avoids huge sum required to purchase the asset. See children, in some of the companies, what they do, instead of purchasing a fixed asset and spending a huge amount on purchase of this fixed asset, they go for leasing of such machinery or assets. Leasing means they are on some contractual basis, they will lease this machinery, and after that lease period they will either renew the contract or they will give back that machinery to the vendor. So that leasing contract, if the leasing facility is there, then capital or fixed capital requirement is less, because you can avoid purchasing a fixed asset and go for leasing of these assets. So financial alternative is one factor which will help you to make decision on purchase or of fixed asset. Next point is level of collaboration. Certain business organizations share each other's facilities. For example, a bank may use another ATMs. Such collaboration reduces the level of investment in fixed asset for each firm. So their fixed capital requirement is lower. So you may have seen that we can that is withdraw money from any of the ATM. ATM facility is giving us withdrawal of cash from any branches or any bank we are having deposit, but you can withdraw from any of the ATM counter. Why it is possible? Because of this collaboration. So such collaboration will help the other banks to reduce the installation charges of ATM counters, isn't it? So if level of collaboration is high, then fixed capital requirement is less, because they don't have to invest a huge amount on installing this ATM in each and every corner of the busy areas. So they can make use of any of the ATM provided by any of the bank. So these are the factors. These 8 factors are there for making a decision about purchase of fixed asset or fixed capital.